Ossington, the hacker podcast, the dark web today podcast people, and like Mr. Hill and all that, they want you to wake up and like go on Twitter. Come on. Oh.
Hey, how are you, Ben?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. This is wonderful. This environment is something amazing.
Yeah, it's something a bit different, and I mean, I was saying to a few of them, there's been a few conferences run on this, and it's how I plan on running B-Sides Newcastle, and I love it for the kind of global accessibility, and it's you get to do some pretty cool maps as well.
No, it's like being in a video game from the 80s. It's like arcade.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, what we're going to do is we'll give it. We normally, as I said, start the talks around about half past. Feel free to mingle, chat, etc. with them. Literally, all you have to do is walk onto the stage and it'll spotlight you. So then everyone in the venue will see you talking away, or if you want to dress green or whatever. We normally do. If you want to have a bit of a chat and explain about yourself, then we have a bit of a kind of. I'll ask a few questions. We have a bit of a chat, then we throw it open to anyone else who's got any questions, and we try to keep everything as light as possible. You know what I mean? We don't not as light as possible. That's probably the wrong one to say. But yeah, as chatty as possible, as fluid as possible. So yeah, it's definitely should be one of the most relaxed DCs you've ever been to.
Yeah, and actually this environment helps a lot. I mean, I don't feel I'm talking to people. I feel I'm playing.
Yeah. There's plans. There's been a CTF already ran on this, and I've been couldn't really talk about, but there's things you can do with the API that we've been working on trying to do and escape the room in here as one of the events for B-Sides, but it's work in progress. I know a few people have done them already, but it's working.
So far, so good. So far, so good.
Cool. It should. Anyway, I'm going to go to the front and try and trouble people down a little bit. I'll be about, but we'll give another 5-10 minutes. And then
no problem. I have no restrictions about the time. I'm available to talk all the time. I mean, let's enjoy this, and I'm really happy to be here and to talk to people from other countries. This is amazing. So thank you for the invitation. This is wonderful.
Yeah, it's that's what we like. We like to. I mean, as I said, we don't run like a normal DC kind of, because normal DCs have very technical talks every time, and they're awesome talks, but we just can't find the people, so we decided to run it a bit different. Every 3 months, we bring someone on that we like and have a chat with them. Then the next month, and again, once every 3 months, there's a book club. So we bring on a writer to talk about book, that kind of stuff. And that was Vicky with hands-on talking. That was pretty cool. And then next one's a workshop. So we'll kind of run that and link it around. So the last workshop we had Yuri, I'm not going to try and pronounce his surname, doing reverse engineering the random in Minecraft. So
well, actually, now that you tell me all this, I would like to join the upcoming talks because sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, well, we've got everything up on the Twitter. I'm terrible with pretty much any other form of media.
So, I have the same problem. And I am actually trying a lot Twitter Spaces. I don't know if you have tried them. Have you tried Twitter Spaces?
I've jumped into a couple. They seem to be very good. I don't really talk too much though, or I haven't really talked too much because generally I'm walking about. If I'm looking around Twitter, if I'm just kind of like looking for something to watch, listen to, or jump in, I'll generally be walking. I do like a morning miles. Walking. It helps me settle my head.
Yeah, I have been hosting several spaces about cybersecurity, and so far it's been really great. I mean, initially I was just hosting the spaces on the run, but then I scheduled them and I told people in advance, and that was a good idea. And so far it's been wonderful, and I'm planning. I will keep on doing that. So I will regularly be hosting spaces about security. I couldn't find any other person that is doing the same. I am absolutely sure that many people are doing it, but I am not aware of that. So I think it's something very interesting to meet people and exchange ideas and share knowledge, and it's really nice.
I saw that idea pop up on one of the conferences that was being looked at, and it's on a tab on my other machine. But one of them offers coffee idea labs, which kind of what it is, where you got a little bit of space to bounce around ideas to people who know things, and yeah, it's I like the idea of spaces. I haven't tried too many, but I do like the idea. But yeah, getting like regular ones for that, I think.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about creating a podcast that with a good quality podcast with good content, but with the spaces. I don't know. I would like it probably to host the spaces instead of making a podcast. But on the other hand, if I host spaces and the recording is then available for the host, I can create a podcast with the contents of the space. So that's interesting. So how's the weather there? Because here it's freezing.
It's pretty good actually. Well, it says 17 degrees of rain coming on my laptop, but it's been pretty nice. It's got back down to tolerable. We had 3 or 4 days where the kind of days that you need aircon for, which are few and far between in the UK, but it was just that humid nastiness, and UK houses don't have aircon, which is crap. Even being in my shed in here, because I've got a metal roof, it was just absolutely cooking. Yeah, but it's alright. It's pretty good. Sorry, I've just realised that I haven't got OBS running, and I haven't got OBS on this laptop, so I'm just going to sort that out. Otherwise, I'll not have a recording. So last time was the first time I actually managed to get it to record properly.
Yeah, I had so many problems with OBS. I had to uninstall it because it basically controlled all my camera and everything, and it wasn't working properly. And then I uninstalled it, but I kept having problems. So I don't know why was that, but it was really annoying.
Yeah, it does it on my work phone. push OBS, and yeah, you can't put my camera on that. Yeah, but I need something to do the recordings on this time. So, I did last time. I grabbed my laptop and so I did that. House, I'll get like given a job and I'll be like 10 minutes. So it's easy to hide in the shed.
Yeah. So I have just tweeted that I am here.
Well, that reunion is like directly to me.
So how many people use Eventbrite to register?
My numbers are always quite low. I think it was 10 or 12 or something like that, but I am shit with numbers. And to be honest, our biggest ever crowd was 18. So I'm not saying we're a big, shiny anything. We are oh yeah, absolutely. That's it. So yeah, it's the location-based, distance-based talking thing is a little bit funky. I like it. I'm just going to play around with OBS.
Okay.
Feel free. Sorry, I'm terrible at on one thing. Hey everyone. I'm just sorting out a few things to do with the recording. Give me 5 minutes and we'll be picking up. That's good with everyone.
Yeah. No, not Martha Stewart. Call me B for Vendetta. Ouch. That hurt.
Not the guitar, the piano. Guitar, what? My brain's going. I'm getting anyway, right. I have sorted out the recording, kind of. It's in my typical horrendous dodge format, but yeah, it works. I'll grab the laptop for that minute. And yeah, if Daniel would like to, first, so sorry, I am terrible remembering names. So, Alberto, if you would like to come on to the stage, we can get things rolling.
Okay.
What else if you want to end it? Sorry.
No, sorry. This is like Mario Bros.
Yeah. So, first of all, a few little housekeeping, not housekeeping things, but you know, maybe general time the episode beginning. Questions wise, if Alberto wants you to, how do you want to do questions? Do you want people to throw them out, or do you want people to just pop them in the chat and we'll take care of them afterwards. But what's the way you would like to?
No, I would like to make this interactive, and just when somebody has any questions, I don't know if they can raise hands here or something, make a sign up.
Which one is that? I know there's dance. Which one? Yeah.
Oh, well,
what film was that?
okay, whenever somebody wants to ask me a question, just do it. Let's make this interactive, it's more fun.
Cool. So we'll do it like that. Generally, as long as you stand on the stage, everyone hears you. If you want to come up to ask a question, I'll be sitting off stage, so that's fine. With there being not too many of us here, it should be all right, because I think everyone's within sound range of each other. But yeah, other than that, over to you, Alberto. I'll let you let you introduce yourself and let everyone. You know what I mean.
Okay, perfect. First of all, I am in a new world. So, hello, everybody. I am Alberto Gil. I am from Uruguay, and I am a computer engineer. I have worked in cybersecurity for almost 20 years. And my first work as a computer engineer was as a computer forensics in a criminal case in Uruguay in 2004, when a law regarding child pornography was created. And the first case about that, I was the person in charge of the forensics investigation of that case. So I was the first in that. And I was also the first person in Uruguay who was sent to prison for a computer-related crime. So I am always the first when it comes to forensics and computer crimes. It was, I don't know if you guys have heard my story, which is available in Darknet Diaries. But I will tell you a little bit more about me. And you guys that are, I suppose, mostly from the UK, you probably will understand me more than any other public. I began into the computer world when I was like 8 years old. A neighbor lent me a computer, which was a Sinclair that was with 1 kilobyte of RAM, and it was so amazing for me. I mean, I had to type the games in BASIC and then disconnect the computer, and I lost everything. And well, that was my first contact with a computer. And ever since then, I never stopped in this beautiful world of technology. And after that person that lent me the computer asked me the computer back, I started crying. I was so sad that my parents made an effort, and they bought me a Sinclair Spectrum Plus that had 48 kilobytes of RAM, and I could save programs with a cassette, with a tape, and that was so incredible. And here we had, I mean, you obviously know Sinclair, Amstrad, all those computers that in the USA they know nothing about. The UK and in Spain, those computers were like the most sold, and everybody had those computers. In Germany, the Commodore was the computer. But you guys from the UK, you probably know. I don't know your ages, but if you are if you're in your 40s.
I did exactly the same. I had the 1K ZX81, and I bought the 16K RAM pack.
Wow.
The thing that went on the back, it used to wobble about. So I really identified with you what you're saying.
Well, the thing is that I was always getting magazines from Spain that were arriving in Uruguay a year after they were published in Spain, that they have all the information about the new games. They had games. It was so incredible because they had the games, the code of the games in BASIC and in hexadecimal to run them, and they were the code of the game were printed in a magazine. That was something that nobody, a millennium could never understand that. And they also have courses to understand assembler, for example. And I started playing with assembler, and I got this device that was I could plug into the Spectrum, and it had a red button that enabled me to interrupt the processor, to generate an interruption. And that way, I started analyzing the code in assembler of the games. And well, I was learning I was a child. I mean, instead of playing soccer, I was playing with that device. And I started looking for the code the code LD dot register A, comma, and the number of lives of a game. For example, if a game had 5 lives, I was looking for the code of load the register A with 5, and I was modifying that, and I could normally find that code and get unlimited life or as many lives as I wanted in a game. So I was like 10 years old playing with assembler. Right now, today, if you put me in front of a computer and assembler code, I wouldn't be able to do anything. And when I was a child, I was able to do so many things like that. That was, wow, I admire myself for that. And I sent one of those, it was called POC, and the thing was called POC because it was like you send a certain, you modify certain address of the memory with certain code, and you generate a change in the program. At that point, I saw that just as a part of programming, but right now, after so many years, I realized that I was being a hacker when I was like 10 years old. I was hacking computer games. So when people ask me when I started, what was my first hack? Actually, it was with a Spectrum hacking a game. It was that the way I began. And well, then I went to, I spent all my when I was a teenager, all my life was around computers. My latest computer before getting a PC was a Spectrum Plus 3 that came with the 3 inches disc that were so expensive, that were proprietary from Amstrad, I think, and they were so expensive to buy. And well, that was my last computer, and then I entered into the world of PCs. And well, I always had a lot of curiosity, and I started connecting to BBSs, connecting with other people, because up until that moment, it was only myself in my world, learning alone, without having any people to interact into that field. But with the BBSs, I started making contacts, and well, it opened a new world. And in 1995, when I entered university, for the first time I entered the internet, and that was a complete change in my world. Entering the internet was entering into a world of unlimited resources of information and resources that, well, I started learning a lot and doing a lot of things online. I created a first page on a site that was called Geocities, and that page was at one point among the top 10 sites that generated most traffic in that site. And it was a site of 6 million users, 6 million pages, and the site was about this Baywatch star, Nicole Eggert. And when I create that page, I started posting content, and I was seeing, I put a counter in the website, and I was watching, and I was refreshing, and it was like 1,000 viewers, refresh, 1,010 viewers, refresh, 1,050 viewers, and what the hell, what's going on? And people were visiting my site, and I was amazing. And I started using ads that at that point were something new, and I was getting paid like $10 per 1,000 impressions of ads. So I started making money with the website hosted in cities, and I started making good money. I was getting checks every month with, I don't know, $500, $600 from the ads, and I was working more on the page, and I created more pages. So that was something amazing. During college, during university, I learned nothing about hacking. I mean, for me, it was something useless when it comes to learning hacking skills, because there was no course, nothing about related to hacking or security at that point. That was something that uh, was not existent. So instead of studying, I spent all my university time hacking, but I didn't spend time studying. So I was just an average student that I studied just enough to pass the exams. I mean, I was just somebody who studied the night before each exam, and just managed to pass. But I was focused on learning skills to hack, and I managed to hack many things that I do not talk about that, because I don't want to. It's not that I commit any crime, but I do not brag about the things that I have done. So all I can tell you is that I had a lot of fun hacking while I was in college, and well, then I got graduated, and as I told you, I began working in this computer forensics case, in this criminal case. I quit because I couldn't cope with the effects of watching so much child pornography. That's terrible. I couldn't keep working on that field. I mean, I love forensics, and all I knew I learned it myself, because there were no courses. So it was something that requires a lot of responsibility, and you have to be competent, because the results of your work defines the life of a person. I mean, you have to do that in a very responsible way. You cannot just grab a computer and search for files. No. You have to be a professional in order to take those kind of tasks, because you are deciding the future of a person. And 20 years after that, I realized I was a victim of incompetence and lack of knowledge and lack of being professional, when I had this problem with justice that ended up with me being sent to prison. I don't know, Mark, if you want me to tell my story of how that happened.
I would be very interested, because I haven't caught up with your dark diaries, I think it is, anything like that. So I would be very interested to hear if I may.
Okay, that's no problem. It's a story that I always want to share, to create awareness in people, to make them know what could eventually happen to. I don't think in the United Kingdom this could happen. I have been able to publish an article in the magazine, Digital Forensics magazine, from the United Kingdom. I have contacted many people in the forensics field there, so I am aware of the way computer-related investigations are being performed there, the laws that you have. So it's completely different than here. My story began in 2014. I was in the house of who was my girlfriend at that point, and she asked me to enter into the website of the medical provider that she had in order to set an appointment for a doctor. I was in bed with her computer, and she gave me the address of the medical provider. So I opened the browser, entered the address, and then she asked me, "Okay, I will give you my username and password so you can access." And it was a second of silence, and I told her, "No, I don't need that. I'm already in with administrator's privilege." And she was, "What?" "Yeah, I mean, I could access with the username admin and the password admin. I could see all the people's health records, all the information about the health provider, the financial records, the medical records, the human resources information, the medication stock, everything." That for me was like, what the hell? This is so uh, something I couldn't believe and so serious that I was really concerned about that. So what did I do? I immediately sent an email to the CERT of Uruguay, and I told them the problem. I told them, okay, this site, I sent the URL, I could access with administrator privilege with the username admin and the password admin. This is my IP from where I connected, and I sent the email, and it was a Saturday. And in about an hour, the director of the CERT replied that email, and he told me that he confirmed that what I reported was correct. And that was it. I mean, when you report something, you don't have to know what are the things that happen after that. I mean, you don't need to know, and you don't have to know. So it's something that you just report and forget about it. You did you did what you have to do. So I forgot about it. Then we were a year after that, in 2015, my girlfriend asked me again to do something in the system to get a result of an analysis. And you know, guys, when you are into this field, you can smell when you are into a site that might have security problems. I mean, you can see and perceive. It's something that uh, you have the experience, and you can tell this site probably. I mean, I always used to, yeah, I mean, for me, going to a website always meant going to the website and open the source code of the HTML code. I mean, it was like, okay, I go to the site, and at the same time, I see the source code of the site. With that, I I felt, okay, this site might have another problem. And it took me like 5 minutes, and I was accessing to all the medical records of all the people in that medical provider, and we're talking about hundreds of thousands of people involved. How? Just modifying a parameter in the URL. Just modifying that, I could navigate through all the records of all the information of the system. I said, why the hell did I do this? I mean, okay, again, a mail to the CERT saying I could do this in this website. This was the IP from where I connected. Kind regards, Alberto. Okay, the answer that they received the report and they sent me, and that was it. That was in 2015. In 2017, September, the Interpol knocked on my door and they arrested me. They arrested me. I didn't know what was going on. I mean, never had a problem with law. I mean, for me, it was something that I only watched on the movies. What was like to be arrested was not part of my world. Was not part of my reality. Being handcuffed was something that I couldn't understand, and I was completely confused. And they didn't tell me anything until they put me in a van and took me to the Interpol facilities. And when we were arriving, one of them asked me, "Do you know why you're here?" And I said no. And he said the name of the medical provider. And that for me was kind of a relief, because I said, "Oh, it's about something that I have detected, probably that they want to ask me some questions." But then immediately I thought, wait, I am handcuffed. So there's something that is missing in my theory of being taken there for questions about the problems. So they started interrogating me. They asked me, first they asked me what was my Facebook account, and I said, "I don't have Facebook." And then she told me, "Why don't you have Facebook?" And I said, "Because I hate Facebook." And that's the way the interview began. And then they asked me, did you access to this URL, this object?" And he gave me names of URLs and objects, and I said, "Yeah, I might have access. Uh, I don't know. I don't remember." And one of them told me, "Okay, so you don't remember. I will help you remember that." And I look at him, and I was like, "What the hell is going on? This guy threatened me. I am answering all the questions. I mean, uh, what is this person doing? I mean, okay, with a badge and a gun, everybody is brave, and everybody can sound like he is in charge of a situation. But come on, I'm a guy who is not, obviously they didn't make a profile of me when they arrested me. I am not violent at all. I am just a person who spends his life in front of a computer. I was answering questions. There was no need for that. And they started telling me and shouted at me, and they told me, "Don't cross your legs, don't." And it was like something natural in me, because I was nervous. I didn't know what could be all this about. And they started shouting at me. I was answering honestly all the questions, but the situation was very uncomfortable, and I was feeling fear. I have to admit that. And well, at the end of the interrogation, one of them showed me a paper with an email printed on it, and they asked me if I sent what was printed in that email. And I am crossing my legs here now, because nobody's going to tell me not to cross my legs. I am a free person, and now I know my rights, and I know what I can do. And at that point, I regret I didn't know my rights. I didn't know whether I was allowed to have a lawyer or not. I wasn't told anything. When that person told me that he would help me to remember things, I look at him and I asked him his name, and he smiled at me, and he didn't tell me his name. So that position of, okay, we are in charge here, we do whatever we want, you don't have any rights, basically was the message. We do whatever we want, was something that they surely don't have any preparation in order to 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 be to interrogate people in a good manner. I mean, they need classes of good manners. And well, going back, they asked me if I sent the email. I look at it and I said, "No, I didn't send that email. I hadn't sent any email." And I didn't pay much attention to it. I just said, "No, I didn't send it." Okay, they sent me to a cell. I spent the night in Interpol in a cell. I was freezing. Uh, I was taking medication from anxiety, and I was very anxious. and I asked for my medication. They didn't give me anything. They didn't care about my health at all. They just put me in a cell and forgot about me. They didn't give me details. They didn't tell me if I could make a phone call to tell my mother. They didn't tell me anything. And next day, it was a Sunday, they came to my apartment to execute the search warrant. And well, they opened the door, and there were four agents, and they started looking at my place, and they were saying to each other, "Holy shit! Look at this! Oh my God! What? Look at all these things! Wow!" And well, that was the beginning of a nightmare for me, because these guys knew nothing about computers, or they knew nothing about computer forensics to begin with. They didn't carry any equipment to perform the seizure of the media that they have to seize. And they were, "Look, he has these devices." And they noticed a device that was to write and read credit cards or magnetic cards. And well, they immediately assumed that I was carding, that I was in committing crimes with credit cards. And fuck, sorry, sorry for saying that word. I was working with a company in the United Kingdom that it's called Euquid. Euquid, it's a fintech that I was working with, that was selling debit cards of Visa that you could prepay with cryptocurrencies. So I had like tons of those cards that were debit under my name, blank credit cards, because I was testing how to give cards, how to use the cards generated in the United Kingdom immediately here in Uruguay. I was analyzing those kind of things. So I had like 200 empty blank magnetic cards. I had original cards, and I was researching that. And so those devices were something that I was using for my research. Well, they found like 9 laptops, 6 cellulars, like 40 hard disk drives, unlimited pen drives. They saw that I had like 10 monitors. They were just like, okay, and they found this, which was the ultimate evidence for them that I was a criminal. This for them was like, okay, confirm this guy is a criminal. No doubts about that. And yeah, the thing is that the mail that I hadn't paid attention to was asking for bitcoins in order not to release information about the patients of the medical provider, which of course I didn't know. I mean, I reported problems in the medical provider to help them. Why would I report problems in a system and then help them and try to commit extortion? Well, that makes no sense, and that's not the way I behave. I report problems. I used to report problems all the time, so that was not consistent with my behavior, with the way I am. And if somebody reports problems, trying to help, because I was not even a person who was in the list of users of that medical provider. It didn't involve me at all. I mean, I could have perfectly said, I don't care about this. They have a problem. It's not my problem. It's their problem. But I assume it like I want to help these more than 100,000 people that are in danger. The information is in danger. I want to help them. It doesn't involve me at all, but I got involved, and then they accused me of trying to commit an extortion. Oh, that's crazy. And at one point, while they were in my apartment, one of the agents approached me, and he told me, okay, it's better for you to admit that you did send the email. Otherwise, we will go to your mother's house and we will arrest her and we will destroy her apartment like we're doing here with you. And we will go after your girlfriend and we will arrest her and we will destroy her apartment like we're doing with you. And they will have not a nice experience. So think about it. It's better for you to admit that. And for me, it was like that they really touched the thing that I care the most. I mean, the that I love. And I had to decide, I mean, okay, what do? I don't want the people I love to get hurt because of this situation that is involving me, and I'm not sure why exactly I am in this situation. So I thought for a couple of minutes, and I said, okay, if I do admit it, then I would be able to prove that that confession is false, and there is no way of linking me with any email because I just simply didn't send any email. So I protect my beloved ones, and I can later get out of this situation just with evidence showing that there is no evidence against me because I didn't did anything about that regarding that extortive email. So I said, okay, I sent the email. I told the agent, and that was probably the worst decision that I took in my life, confessing that, because I never had the chance to actually prove or I have all the evidence that the file of the case, which involves, it has no links between me and the crime, but I spent another night in Interpol. They arrested my girlfriend, despite the fact they told me they wouldn't go after her if I admitted the crime. They arrested her. They interrogated her like if she was the boss of a cartel of drugs. They treat her like in the worst case. They told her that I was a criminal, that I was cloning credit cards, that I was hacking bank accounts. That appeared on the press, that I was hacking bank accounts. That's something I will talk later. They told her that I had confessed sending the email, but that she was the person that was the mastermind behind that extortive email. And so they told her that I was saying that she was the one that was responsible. And the poor girl started to cry. She was like, we spent 8 years together, and she didn't know the person she was with. The world was destroyed for her. She's a girl from outside Montevideo, from a little town. She's very humble. She only has her parents. She has no brothers and no sisters. She's very humble, and her is beautiful. She's being treated like, sorry for the word, like shit. And that was terrible, really. And well, I spent she spent a day, a night, told me that I was going to be sent. When he told me that, it was the end of the world for me. I thought that was it, that my life was over. I wanted to cry, but I held back the tears. I was like trying to keep my mind blank, no problem, not think about anything, because what he told me was something that I just couldn't imagine what was going to be in prison. And well, they took me to a jail where I spent 5 days being profiled, interviewed by psychologists, making medical analysis, and well, according to your profile, your education, your prior records, and all that, they decide what prison to send you. And I can tell that that's the only part of the process that really worked well, because I was sent to a prison outside Montevideo, 200 kilometers away from Montevideo. That is a minimum security prison, which is one of the best in the country. And here in the country, we have prisons that are literally hell. I mean, you don't know if you are going to survive a day. Every week, people get killed there for nothing. So I was lucky. I was sent to a prison where there were 150 inmates. You had many things that for me were amazing, such you could have a cellular phone after 30 days of being there, and that allowed me to communicate with my mother on a daily basis. For me, it was something wonderful because she has very severe health issues. And the first day that I arrived, the director of the prison told everybody, this guy, he cannot get close to any device because he's very dangerous. So keep him away from any device. He cannot get close to anything that is electronic. That was the order. Well, I was taken to the cell where there were another 12 inmates where I was going to stay. They didn't have an available bed, so I slept on the floor for a week. Then I was transferred to another cell where I had my bed. And well, for me, it was something completely uncomfortable, completely scary. It was a new world where there are codes that I didn't know, and breaking those codes means trouble, means you can get in hurt, you can get in very big trouble. And somebody told me that eventually, while being in prison, you will get to a situation where you will have to fight. And when that situation arrives, you will have to fight. And otherwise, if you don't fight, they you won't be respected here, and people will do anything they want with you. So when you have to fight, don't matter with whom, go and fight. And I have never fought in my life. I mean, only in Mortal Kombat. I mean, it was like I had a banner say, "I'm a tourist in prison." I mean, I have to adapt myself to that environment. And well, I knew that the environment was not prepared for a person with my profile. But at one point of this kind of situation, you realize that you have to make a decision. You have to choose whether to be strong and take the decision of don't let the situation destroy you. Be strong and get out of there stronger than ever, and take that situation as a challenge, as a big obstacle in your life that you have to overcome. Sorry, and well, or you can decide to let to do nothing basically, and to be destroyed psychologically. And basically that's one of the reasons why the people that commit suicide in prisons is the rate is 10 times higher than in the general population. So the rate of suicide is that because losing your freedom is the worst thing that can happen in the life of a person. And it started to rain here. It's like when I hear the rain, I remember the day they told me I was going to prison because it was pouring raining, and now I associate the rain with that moment. And those events will always be linked in my brain. And well, the thing is that I started talking to people, to to socialize with them because I decided to survive. I decided to learn the rules. I decided to learn the codes. I decided to follow the codes. And well, I was in all the time. I was integrated into groups that were talking. I had to listen so many stories about crimes. They were bragging about all the things they did. I was with drug dealers, with people that were murderers. The people that committed sexual related crimes, they were segregated in another area because they are really big. I mean, the population of the prison really hates sexual abusers, so the interaction with them was almost nothing. And well, after 3 months of being there, the director of the prison uh, gave me a proof that I was behaving in a way that was proper, and I was given the keys of the computer room of the prison. After they told get away from any device. I had the keys of the computer room of the prison, and I was given the chance to teach the basics of computers to 50 inmates. So I was teaching computers to inmates. This is for a movie, surely, because I was like teaching people, another inmates, that it doesn't matter what crime they committed. They were just a student for me, and I was teaching them to start the computer, to open Word, and basically the objective of those courses were to teach them how to create a resume in order when they get released, they could get a job, and if they knew how to use a computer to create a resume in Word, that would be a tool that might help them in order to reintegrate in society and get a job after being released. Well, after that was in January of 2018, after 3 months of being sent to prison. In February, the last day of February of 2018, somebody went to visit me to prison, and he was somebody I didn't know. And we started talking, and he asked me a lot of questions, and he said that he knew my case because of the media, because the media put my case in the front page of every newspaper. All the TV news were talking about it when it happened. So that's when I became a hacker and not a cybersecurity specialist. I basically became the hacker, which is another issue, that the word hacker is linked to criminals, which I really dislike that idea. I mean, that's something that whenever they mention that link, I have to talk and explain them that no, being a hacker is not being a criminal. I mean, I always feel the need to clarify that. And well, the thing is that in Uruguay we have a system where if you have good behavior, you can be released from prison for, let's say, 12 hours in a day. Then if you behave 24 hours in a day. And I was sent to prison because the crime I was accused of was something that didn't require me to serve prison time. But the judge sent me to prison because in the resolution of sending me to prison, she explained that due to my high knowledge of computers and security, I was very dangerous and I could alter the rest of the process. Basically, the translation is that with my mind, I could alter the information of the devices that were held locked under the Interpol facilities just because I have special powers, and that I could escape from the country. Why would I escape from the country? I mean, I live here with my mother and my girlfriend. I mean, I have no reasons to. Why would I ruin my life with that? That's stupid. Well, then this person that visited me in prison, he asked me, okay, can you ask this kind of releases temporarily so you can go to your house for 12 hours or 24 hours every week? And my lawyer created a petition that, based on my good behavior, he was asking to be granted for that. That was a Sunday that he visited me. On a Thursday, the people from the that work in the part of the uh, laws of the prison, they called me and they told me, Alberto Hill, we have this resolution. And I was saying, okay, what's next? What will I be accused now for? I mean, my bad luck was in a row that I thought, okay, what was going to happen now? And they told me the judge had made this resolution, and you have been granted uh, 72 hours a week of being released. 72 hours a week, that's 3 days. And that's something that never happens. I mean, in the system, it's something that is gradual. First, you are released 12 hours a day at most, once in a month. And then gradually, with time, they are giving you more time. The people from the prison, they couldn't believe that they need to verify that. So they called the judge and they asked her, did you really send this resolution? Because they had never had another prior antecedent of somebody being granted that in prison. I mean, 3 days. I was basically half of the week outside the prison, and that is completely not aligned with the fact that I was dangerous and that I should be sent to prison because I could alter the evidence. I mean, if I was granted that by the judge, I had 3 days to commit any crime that she didn't want me to commit. I mean, I had 3 days to do anything and alter the evidence and escape from the country. This is not coherent. This is something that makes no sense. Well, the first weekend that I was released, and I came to my house, this guy who visited me, he came here and we started talking. And at one point, he told me that he really thought that I was a person that was extremely smart, intelligent, with extremely high skills. And basically, he told me that he wanted to hack a bank and steal money from a bank. He had all in his mind all the things that he was thinking. For example, getting accounts of people that were about to die, because he told me, you have access to all the medical information of people. You go and find people who is about to die, who has health problems that are very serious. So let's go and hack those accounts of those people that are about to die, and they should have a lot of relatives, because if he has a lot of relatives, then they will fight for the money, and that will give us time in order not to be discovered. And they have to be huge accounts of money, so they wouldn't notice if we take like $200,000 from there. And well, I said, fuck, I'm in prison for a crime I didn't commit, a computer crime, and now this guy is telling me this. I mean, like they always ask me, and my answer is always the same. Can you hack a bank? Yes, I probably could, but I won't because it's illegal. But yeah, I can. I won't. The thing is that this guy told me, you are free here because I am a friend of the judge's husband, and I talked to the husband, and that's why his wife, the judge, signed that resolution to make you leave the prison 72 hours a week. I could never confirm that, but I all seems that to make sense. The only explanation reasonable is that he was telling me the truth. That he visited me a Sunday, and on a Friday I was leaving prison. When here all the processes take months. The justice doesn't do anything. Everything takes a lifetime in order to get approved. So I enter into a state of, okay, if I don't help this guy, and he's a friend of the judge will never release me from prison. They will accuse me of more crimes. They will frame me with, they will put child pornography in my devices. They will ruin my life. But if I help this guy, I will go to prison. I will commit a real serious crime. So what do I do? What's going on with my life? What is this all happening to me? And well, he gave me a cellular phone. He gave me an iPhone. This guy, he gave me a computer in order to work. He had all, figured out. At the end, he told me that he was an owner of many companies, and he got in serious troubles with debt, and he had to ask money from the mafia basically, and he owed $200,000 that he needed to pay. Otherwise, they would go and harm him and harm his family, and he was afraid of being murdered because of that money. And I actually checked his credit records, and in all the banks, he was rated as a person who was impossible to get the money he was loaned. His credit was like the worst credit ever. So that explains why he asked money from outside the financial system, and he was really scared. And well, the thing is that I was very anxious, very nervous, terrified, and I took too many medications and pills for anxiety that I ended up in coma. I ended up in hospital, and I opened my eyes, and I was blinded by the lights, and somebody approached me and asked me if I knew where I was, and I said no with my head because I couldn't speak. And the person told me, "You are in this hospital in intensive care unit. You have been in coma for 2 hours." And I thought to myself, wow, my life sucks. I'm really unlucky. What the hell? And then I could hear voices of doctors speaking, and they were saying, okay, this guy is in a very serious condition and not stable. He might die anytime. I was hearing all that, and I don't want that person to be in this hospital because I'm in charge of this hospital, and if he dies here, I will have to answer a lot of questions, and it's a lot of trouble, a lot of paperwork, so we have to move him to another place. And I was hearing that. I was hearing all that, and they were discussing about what to do with my probably death. Oh, that was crazy. And well, that wasn't a day for me to die. I survived. And well, after 3 months after that, I was released from prison. I came to my apartment. There's nothing like freedom. Once you lose it, you really understand what it is. And I got access to the file of the case. 10,000 pages file of a case. One of the things that took me really by surprise and was like being stabbed from behind was the fact that the director of the CERT was being interviewed by the judge, and the judge asked him if I had reported anything about the health provider and the security. And he said, I do not recall. I have searched some mails, but I didn't find anything. I do not recall that Alberto Hill reported anything about that. Okay. When I report those things, they have a system that gives you a ticket number where you can trace the report. And if he was asked that, in a case that is a criminal case, you cannot answer, I don't know. You have to answer yes or no. I do not recall is not a valid answer. Mostly when you have the tools in order to go and check in the system. First of all, if somebody reports you, he can access to a system with admin, and it's a critical system. That is something you don't forget. That is something you remember forever. That's one thing. Second, you go to the system and you look for the incidents reported, and you find out the 2 reports that I made. Saying that I do not recall for the judge means this guy is lying. If he had reported it, the person, the director of the CERT, should have remembered and should have said, yes, he reported. So basically, all my assumptions that I made during the interrogation in the Interpol, that I was being asked, did you access to this site and this address and blah, blah, blah? I was assuming that they knew I had reported the problems, and I was saying, yes, I probably accessed that. They knew nothing. They knew nothing about the prior reports. So I was completely unable to understand what was going on. And I lost all the credibility with the judge, because she would probably thought that all the things that I said were lies, trying to protect myself. If the director said I didn't say any report, the judge would say this guy is untrustable. All he's saying is lies. Okay. Second thing that I found in the file that was very shocking. The email asking for bitcoins in order not to release the information said, send this amount of bitcoins to the following address. And then in the email, there was no address to deposit the bitcoins. That is something that, what kind of ransomware attack is that? What kind of, I mean, you don't include the address to deposit the ransom. What? It is a child. This is something that it's done. It's the most pathetic ransomware attack in the world. It couldn't be more pathetic, and they are attributing it to me. That's an insult. They're insulting me. I mean, I was working with cryptocurrencies at that time. I was, I had 20 years of experience in cybersecurity, and they were accusing me of sending me that email that didn't have a wallet to deposit the bitcoins, and nobody ever pointed that out. It had to be me that had to go through all the pages of the file in order to find out that. That's crazy. The thing is that and by the way, I was released from prison on May 2018 because I was my lawyer appealed the sentence of the judge, and I was released under a bail of $10,000. $10,000, which for me at that point was an inflection point that made me understand that justice is just a beautiful word, is a beautiful concept, but in the facts, justice does not exist in our world, because if somebody has the money to pay to be released under a bail, then he can be free. If you don't have the money, if you are pure, then you have to stay in prison. So that is not justice. That is completely unfair. That is something that is not correct. I mean, imagine the frustration if I was granted that possibility of being released on a bail and I didn't have the money to pay for that. The state of depression I would enter into, I would really feel miserable. I was lucky that my mother could pay that money for the bail, and that was something that made me realize that all the system is really, but it's really full of flaws, and justice is just the name that it has. It shouldn't be called justice. And the process is still going on. There is no sentence. Everything is slow. Now with the pandemic, everything is much slower than it was, and my case is still ongoing. I recover almost all my devices except the credit cards that were seized and my cryptocurrency wallets by hardware that they were going to give them back to me. I was the person that was representing Ledger Wallet from France in Uruguay. I was granted the being a representative of Ledger Wallet, so I had like 20 hardware wallets here, and one that was a Nano S wallet where I had all my savings. And when they were about to return the things to me, they returned my computers, the printers, uh, the, the hard disk, and everything. And they returned me they tried to give me the wallet, and when I opened the box, because they said send me a box, the box was empty. The box that has all my cryptocurrencies in that wallet was empty. I said, what the hell? Where's the wallet? I was with my lawyer and I was speaking to them like it was my revenge for the way they treat me the first time. And my lawyer was like red because I had no mercy with them. And I said, what the hell? What kind of policeman are you that you save empty boxes? What are you? Where did you learn this? And they were like, they didn't know what to tell me. And they say, no, we sent the box empty. I said, yeah, sure. You saved empty boxes. Come on, guys. Are you treating me like I'm stupid? Well, the wallet never appeared where I had all my cryptocurrencies. And we're talking about all the savings that my father left me in when he died in insurance, a life insurance that I invested buying Litecoins at $3. I had all of that there. So imagine, it was not only my cryptocurrencies; it was cryptocurrencies from my ex-girlfriend. So it was like the end of the world again for me. It was really something that affected me a lot. And well, I'm still in the process. I wrote a book about my story. I am using each opportunity I have in order to talk about it, because I think that when you find a problem in a system and you feel you have to fix it, what do? You talk about it. And that's what I'm doing. And I cannot imagine having lived my life after this event, having kept all to myself and having been able to express myself and tell the world my story. So for me, it's like a relief being able to be open about all this and tell the story about my situation and make people aware that things should change in Uruguay. They must change, because all I suffer, all the hell that I had to live in, is something that is just happened, it's past. I cannot recover the things that I have lost, including the love of my life, that she's still under treatment and therapy for the trauma that was caused for this situation. And I don't want this to happen to anybody else. I am fighting in order to change things, so nobody has to live this nightmare again. No, I want to be the first and the last person who lived that. I cannot change my past, but I think I can make things to improve the future, and that's what I'm doing with different things that I'm doing in my life. I cannot assume a full-time job because I'm under therapy treatment because of the consequences of the traumatic situation, and I was advised not to take any job that requires great responsibilities. So I'm not working, which for me is something frustrating, but it's my reality. And well, this is basically me, my story, and I am sharing that with all of you guys. So you have to know that in some countries, the legislation, the police is incompetent, and computer-related crimes can end up in somebody being sent to prison for absolutely no reason. How they reach me? Because when I access to the site in February of the year I was arrested, I did a port scanning on the system, which is something I do with my bank also. And they had the logs of that, and well, they just need somebody in order to arrest him and say, okay, we have captured a very dangerous criminal, a cyber terrorist, so we are the best police in the world. We were able to arrest this person that is very skilled, but we are more intelligent than him. And it's something that is funny. While they were in my apartment doing executing the search warrant, one of them was shouting at me and he was asking me, where did you get the bitcoins? Where do you get the bitcoins? And as always, I was answering the truth. I told him honestly, I get them mostly from localbitcoins.com. And he shouted at me, don't lie at me. I know how bitcoins work. I have known bitcoins for more than 10 years. And that was in 2018. Bitcoins were created 8 years before that, not 10 years. So that guy knew the bitcoins before they were created. That proves the incompetence and arrogance. The arrogance is the worst part because they try to show they know everything and they know nothing, and you can argue with them because all you get is insults, and you're being treated with unrespectful way, and you're a human being. And I have realized that after you are being put handcuffed, you stop being a human being and you are just something that is in control of that system that is evil and is unfortunately extremely powerful. So that's my story, guys.
I just want to say thank you for telling that. A story that lots of bits hit very close. Growing up quite fun little time in Latin America. But yeah, it shouldn't be an amazing story, but it is an amazing story. It shouldn't even be a story. It plain shouldn't have happened, to be honest. But unfortunately, that's competence of people not knowing what they're investigating. It shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, and imagine I have experience in computer forensics, and being in my apartment watching how an officer grabs a cellular that is off and she turns it on in front of me and she asked me for the password, and I was like, hey, wait, the rule number 1 of evidence is preserve evidence. Do not turn on a cellular that is off. I mean, you have to keep it in its original state. What are you doing? And I was like, I cannot believe it. And they grab a laptop. Then the laptop was on and with the screen on, and they just shut it down. When you have to know that when a device is turned on and the screen is on, you take a picture of the screen and you ask for an expert to ask what to do. Well, they did anything they wanted. They said a USB killer, and I warned them, okay, do not plug the USB killer, please. You grab 2 of them because you will destroy the computers where you plug it in. The day after that, there was a page in the file with the USB killer, and the prosecutor was asking me, why do you have a USB killer? Why do you have a device with that name? And I said, what does it have to do with this case? What evidence of what is that? and I was just trying to help them to not to cause any damage, and now it's part of the file in a page as evidence against me. So, oh God, I was so frustrated I couldn't speak. We were speaking in another language in court. The prosecutor was ignorant, and unfortunately, those that were supposed to translate the technical issues of the case into a language that the prosecutor would understand were incompetent. They were unable to transmit anything but their perception that I was a huge criminal. They were just giving him noise, 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 and that's what the prosecutor interpreted as, okay, this guy is guilty and he's a criminal, and that was it. And I felt so frustrated I couldn't do anything because there was nobody that could actually be in the middle and translate the facts into another reading of the situation and the scenario. Wait, this guy is a cybersecurity professional. All the things he has have a reason. All the cybersecurity professionals have this kind of equipment. I mean, they run labs, they have computers, they have environments like this, they have these devices. They didn't understand, probably going back to the fact of a hacker is a criminal. These guys couldn't understand that somebody could be an ethical hacker, could be a cybersecurity professional, could be somebody that uses the same tools a criminal uses, because a police has a gun, but I don't say that the police is a criminal, and criminals have guns. So you cannot judge people for what they have or the things that they wear. They say stickers of bitcoins. Fuck, what kind of evidence is that? They didn't know what to do. They made a mess, and they just then in the press releases link it all in a way that, okay, this guy was working with Bitcoin, so he's guilty of the crime. This guy, and they say that, they mention that he had an anonymous mask. This mask was given back to me after the judge said that everything should be returned because there were no evidence that there was any link of any crime in what they said. This was the mask that was said, and this was the ultimate evidence of me being a criminal. Something has to change in the mind of those people, because we are in trouble. The system has very important problems, and the system has to change. With that mentality, a normal human being, a normal person, is in danger. We are all in danger with those guys that are carrying so much power and a badge and a gun. Those guys decide the future of a person and can destroy the life of a person without mercy and without any reason to do that.
People who are investigating something that they sort of either don't understand it or they're frightened of it, so they trump up these charges against it.
Yeah, and
Not a similar thing. I think it's similar thing. I can't say it, but
yeah. It's a shame someone isn't here who's normally turns up. That may or may not have been involved in the British equivalent of when cyber professionals try and help the police. And I know how horribly wrong that went. So I can't imagine it would have gone any better. Any better in
it's sort of the fear of those people. They didn't know how to handle it, so they thought you must be guilty of a crime.
yes,
You like every kind of what you say you should do. All right, so report it straight to SIR, do all of this, do all of that, and you still ended up, unfortunately, the wrong side of the law. I think that kind of goes to scare a lot of information professionals and researchers in that at the moment. I mean, I've had people come to me to ask about how they should approach talking to XYZ. I don't know. I pointed up to someone who did know. But yeah, it's security researchers have a hell of a scary limbo to sit in, basically, because your life essentially is in the hands of the company that you're reporting things to. Some of these companies maybe aren't the nicest to people when you start reporting things. It's basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the thing is that after all this, the community of people that worked in security here, they started contacting me, and they are afraid of reporting problems to the CERT in particular, and they approach me and they tell me, okay, I found this problem in this site, and what do I do? And I don't want to know, don't tell me anything. And it's like they come to me, and I know more about the security problems going on than the CERT, because now the CERT is being seen as something that is dangerous, and they don't want to end like me. And that's something terrible, because they have lost the opportunity of having people helping them in order to solve problems before the bad guys find them. And bug bounty programs are a must. I mean, we have to implement bug bounty programs here. It cannot be possible that we are living like in the Wild West here. It's something that so many things have to change, and there are resources to do it, but the people that have the power, and they are in the positions of making changes, they just say, I do not recall. That's are the answers of the people that should be making those changes that make impact in society and improve systems that they can see that are working wrong. That's something that it's really irritating, that people do not engage into improving the society when they are in the position of being able to do it. And for me, it's something that I cannot understand. If you are in that position, you should do it. Not doing anything is not an option.
I hope not many other people need to go through the disaster, basically, that you have to go through. All right. Do we have some questions from the audience?
I would love to hear questions, guys, so don't be shy. I am a shy person, but after my experience, I stopped being shy, and I started talking about my case and everything, and they have to shut me up because I speak too much.
That's the right way to be. Don't let them affect you. I know I kind of alluded to it, but yeah, what started me down the road of B-Sides Newcastle was similar-ish. Obviously nowhere near as bad, but a similar kind of police encounter, let's say. And yeah, it's amazing those times when, well, not those times. That's that time when you sit in yourself for the first time and you realise quite how fucked everything is. But bluntly, it really does kind of bring it down to you. It's a scary time. It's a really scary time. But yeah, good that you've gone through it.
Yeah, the outcome of the process is yet to be known. I mean, I have another chapter to write in my book that is not being told yet. I mean, it's not over. It's not over, and I don't know anything can happen.
Well, we've got a question from B there. Can you kind of answer it? Yeah. Did this experience further help you in your life, even if it was bad?
Well,
Maybe that's out of a bad experience. So it's kind of an important thing for cybersecurity.
for me, it changed my life completely. The path of my career completely changed the way it was going. I'm a different person. I suffer a lot. I lost almost everything I had, and I was able to see the world through different eyes and understand many things of society, of people. I could open my mind a lot. I have learned a lot, and now I see the world through different eyes. I thought before this experience that I was a person with great knowledge of the world, that I've been all over the world, I've seen the best of the world, and I basically realized that I was just stupid, that I didn't know anything. After being in prison, after hitting rock bottom, I realized I knew nothing and I learned a lot. Uh, and I try now, my approach is that I've been able to spread my story to more than 1 million people through different ways, such as Darknet Diaries that reached 400,000 people, magazines in the USA, Digital Forensic Magazines, Hacking Magazine. Last year in December, I talked in the Chaos Conference remotely. I was able to talk in the Chaos Conference. I wrote a book. I spoke in many podcasts. I really reached a lot of people, and I got a lot of support from people that always approach me, and they really tell me that they feel inspired, that I inspire them, that well, they really consider me a hero. I'm just a person, a humble person that live a situation and I survive. Uh, but that admiration really means a lot to me, and more than the admiration, the support that I get. So I am not in touch and connected with so many people that prior to this, if you put my name in Google, you will have no results. You would find nothing about me because my profile was extremely low, and it's the profile that is recommended to have in this profession. Not being known, uh, don't let people know what you do. Well, after this, everybody knew I knew who I was and what I was doing. So I had to change my approach and my profile. I was a very low. I had an extremely low profile. I was extremely shy, introvert, always under the radar. And then I was exposed to hundreds of thousands of people that knew about my case and approached me, and I had to deal with that. I don't call it fame, I call it notoriety, and it's something that I was not used, but I want to use it in a good way. And if I can reach so many people, well, I can send messages to good messages to those people, and it's a channel that I have to transmit good intentions and good message, and try to say things that can reach a lot of people that are positive. So in that way, my life completely changed. Uh, I wish it didn't happen what happened, but okay, I have to take the the consequences of that as instruments to build something positive. And now I have a network of contacts and people that know me, that I can deliver messages to them that can help them and other people. So let's use the results of this experience as something that can help others.
That I think one of cybersecurity or pretty much everything in general is major one. You turn a fail into a success. Turn a shitty thing that's happened. Sorry, I keep swearing. I'm not the best speaker. I'm sorry. You turn something terrible into something that you can use to educate other people, and that I think is really something to be proud of. Do we have a few more questions from the crowd? Or...
Just on a slight side thing. the sharing of information in our field, something that's worried me a bit is thinking, well, the more that we share what we know, we could also be sharing it with people that we don't want to know. But one argument against that would be that they already know anyway. So we're looking at the ransomware, the solutions to it and everything. So I wonder if there's some sort of subculture of the good side that's going on, whereas we're just sort of sharing little bits and others. If we start talking too much about what we do, and I don't really count myself in your sort of league, I'm sort of IT and support and stuff, but is there a risk that we share too much of what we know that could give the baddies an advantage?
Yes, I think that we are giving an advantage. I mean, I think the criminals, when it comes to right now in ransomware, for example, they are 10 steps ahead of the good guys. They are winning the battle. The bad guys are winning the battle because they have it's a business that generates incomes that are amazing. The skills that they have are incredible, and the organizations are not being able to cope to protect themselves against these guys that are 10 steps ahead of the rest, and the thing is only getting worse and worse. So yeah, the less information you give, the better. Only give the information that you must give. Don't give any advantage, because we are already in disadvantage, in big disadvantage. So the information should be handled in a very responsible and with much care.
As you say, they are far, from what I understand, they are far ahead of us. And so the only answer is to share what we can about what we can amongst our groups. So how do we control who gets that information, how we share it amongst ourselves? How do you spot that it could be going to the wrong people? Do we need to?
Well, how can you control? I mean, in some things, I can talk about UK side of things well-ish, but I mean, there are some closed loop things, like there's some initiatives via NCSC, there's some things like that you can get involved with as an IT provider, and some of those ones you need to be vouched onto, things like that, but still, you always run the risk that there could be something there. I'm trying to remember, I'm sure I was reading an article about one of the major providers saying, oh yeah, we cracked this ransomware, here's how to get rid of it. And then that was rather quickly updated by whoever managed the ransomware. So yeah, we need to be a bit kind of wary of what we say and what we give out. But then again, we need to also understand that the only way we're going to get better is if we all get better. And the only way to do that is for sharing information.
Yes, but there is an example that is not related to ransomware, but it's related to sharing information about security. And for me, it's the perfect case is the problem of the banks and the SWIFT system to transfer money. How the Bangladesh bank was hacked, and they stole like $80 million because they found a flaw in the SWIFT system of transferring money, and other banks were affected mostly at the same time or with a small time frame, and they weren't able to prevent that because the banks wouldn't release that information and wouldn't say that were victims of that attack, and the SWIFT system had certain problem that could be exploited, and the banks could be victim of it because they just didn't want to admit they were victims of a problem, and that the SWIFT system had a flaw in its design that allowed to be target of criminals. That's something that also happens, not recognizing things and not giving information, and that could be helpful for other institutions, organizations, or people, but keeping that information just doesn't help. And well, That's a case that is very clear. We're not releasing the information about certain security issue is causing a damage to the rest of the world.
You've got it there, but it's sort of, by not sharing it, it's hiding the problem. It's sort of pushing it under the carpet, isn't it?
WannaCry was a result of hiding it and using it, not pushing it under the carpet, but using it for government gains, etc. As soon as that ends up out, it gets abused. If that had been out earlier and more known about, would it have been patched sooner? Would it have been as bad? All of that. It's a massive question in my head. I like to think about it sometimes, but it's something I can never really answer personally.
No, I agree. It's sort of, how do we answer it now? But it's also, you think about that as well. Obviously, you have Alberto as well.
Yeah, I mean, there is no single solution for all these issues. We all have to adapt and see each case in particular and analyze it and be having the analytic skills good enough in order to know what's the best approach for each situation is, because each situation is different from others. There are no two single things that are the same. You have to study every case, every scenario. In my case, having reported those problems, I would have never imagined the outcome of that. And if I would have kept that information to me, what if that was? I mean, it was it was in 2014 that I reported. Apparently, the hack was in 2017. It was 3 years frame. I could access, not hacking, because I don't consider that I hacked the system, just modifying a URL parameter. I mean, actually, I could grab all the URLs and put that in Google, and Google could index all the information, and all the medical records could be indexed by Google. It was not hacking. And if I could do it, how do you know if, I mean, I consider that it's pretty likely that many other people could have done the same and didn't report that.
No, I think similar. I put something in the chat there. I know it's not on a scale, but you go into some sort of web directory and you get the file and everything. If they haven't put an index in there, or if it's open, you can list all the content.
Yes, and
I'm very, very, very level.
Yes, and it's funny because the company hired the health provider hired some guys to investigate the supposed attack, and they told the judge that the attack could only be performed by somebody who has extremely high skills of security, not an average person. And I was thinking to myself, a 14-year-old kid with a tablet can do this. I mean, my grandmother can do this. I mean, typing admin and accessing is somebody that my mother might try.
So enlightening and emotional to hear your story and think, oh my goodness, there's the rest of us.
I know we've got another question now from Morgan. I'm not asking to read that because I know it's my working today. So what was your initial sentence and how long did you actually say?
No, I didn't. I don't have any sentence. The reason I was in prison was as a preventive measure, because as I mentioned, there was a high risk of escaping from the country, and my skills could could affect the rest of the process. That means I could change the evidence with my mind. So I was in preventive prison. There is no sentence. If I get a sentence negative, I won't go to prison, because, as I told, this crime does not serve prison time for it. So whether being found guilty or not guilty, I am not going to prison, and I was not going to prison from the start. So why would they send me to prevent prison when, if I was found guilty, I wouldn't go to prison? So it's another thing that is crazy, and all the things that make no sense in the case is like, I wrote a book. I could write 10 books and make a movie and a TV series and make Mr. Robot look naive and stupid, because this story is really, it's really crazy and wicked. But I wasn't sentenced. That's the answer. There is no sentence still regarding my case. So basically, I am actually supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, when I had paid a price of guilt. I mean, I have paid for the crimes of all the cyber criminals in the world so far. So the fact that innocent until proven guilty did not apply to me.
Well, that's kind of the fear, and I think it's just a few times. It's the fear a lot of people have around the word hacker. Yes, oh no, it's a criminal. Oh, it's that person knows how to do that. Yeah, but get a Google and pretty much anyone can do it. If people only realised, I don't think it would put them minds at ease.
Absolutely.
Well, I don't think I've got any more questions. I know Morgan's on reach out now. I'll chat to you later about that. But yeah, would anyone like to ask anything more, or should we put it back over just to the social side of it? Yeah. Cool. Well, one thing I do have to say is thank you very much for coming along, Alberto. It was great to hear your story. It's something that I saw the Darknet Diaries and saw a few other things about, but hearing it from you kind of means so much more. The little bit more you add to it. And thank you very much. It must be difficult to talk about, and a lot of those points that we really appreciate you coming along and talking today. And our tiny little DC drink. So happy that we get people on to. So yeah, what we tend to do once we finish the talks is throw it open to just answer really. We've got the social areas found with the tables, chat, whatever. But yeah, the main thing is thank you very much for coming on, Alberto, and thank everyone for coming. Because yeah, some odd guy in Newcastle decided to put something down.
No, thank you for the invitation. I really appreciate that, and as I said, I really value every possibility that I have to talk about my case, my story, because I'm creating awareness of what's going on, and things can only be improved and solved talking about them. Not talking about them, it's like not having a problem, because if you don't speak about the things, there are no things. So be open and don't be. I really have no problems to talk about my story. I feel comfortable. I am very open because as I always been. I mean, I'm just telling the story, the facts. So I feel really comfortable, and I don't feel any guilt for anything I have done, because I have done nothing wrong. So there's no reason for me to not being comfortable talking about this. I feel comfortable because I did nothing wrong. So why would I not being able to express myself in this kind of ways, or in any other kind of way? No, I actually really want and enjoy doing this. So thank you very much.
Thank you. It's excellent to have you along. Yeah, it's weird stuff. So yeah, if everyone wants to do whatever they want, don't talk to each other. You must talk.
Thank you, John. I should probably be wandering off now because I'm just going to join my wife now with a bit of television. About 9 o'clock, we watch a drama on telly or something like that. So I will go. But I feel very privileged to have listened to Alberto this evening, to hear it from you. And it meant a lot to hear that.
No, it's me who thanks you, and thank all the people that were listening to my story. I really appreciate the time to listen to this, and follow me on Twitter, guys. It's A Daniel Hill. Follow me on Twitter, guys. That's my second house.
More on Twitter now than anywhere else. Certainly, I've dropped LinkedIn. It does nothing for me, and I need nothing from it. So Twitter is my home. Certainly, indeed.
I've got to put these sides Newcastle. I have to put information on it about there, but hey, sponsors like that. But it's just posting and trying to get business off people that don't want to give you business. Lots and lots of recruiters that all require that 15 years experience in crypto. I think when you said that, I was like, oh yeah, I've been working for 10 years. See that job advert. Cool. Well, yeah, I'm going to quickly get myself a quick snack because I'm not necessarily have my food inside. I'll do that, but I'll be back shortly. Everyone, feel free to stay on. There's poker and other games kicking around if you want to have a look. Yeah, feel free. I shall just mute and spam camera myself and see you all around.
Thank you, guys.
Bye for now. Bye anyway. Catch you.
Yeah, Alberto, if you want to stop presenting to everyone, just get off the stage. It's the whole stage is set up for spotlight.
Okay.